Hi, everybody. It's Rob Halford, the metal god from Judas Priest, and these are my top 10 favorite tunes of all time. Oh, yeah. Paranoid is my number one song. I tell you, guys, all of these 10 are my number ones, but we have to do lists, right? So at the top of the list is Paranoid by Black Sabbath. For me, it was one of these game-changing moments that we have in music because it brought out and brought forth a genre and a style of music that lit up the world and is what we call a game changer, and the great effect that it had for so many of us, and particularly for me as a young musician at the time. Paranoid just took off like a heavy metal rocket. Always been a Slayer fan. Love this kind of extreme metal music with a band like Slayer and Angel of Death. They were a bunch of guys out of the Bay Area that spread this new kind of gospel of metal in this extreme form. You know, the sheer terror of Slayer, which hit us all like a ton of heavy metal bricks, really did the same to me. And out of all of the great Slayer songs that I personally love to smash my head in to and with, Angel of Death. Oh yeah, baby. Holy diver, you've been down too long in the midnight sea. Singers love other singers, and one of my all-time heroes is Ronnie James Dio. And of course, to not have him on the list would be sacrilege. Ronnie still is something of a mentor to me. His extraordinary voice, with its unique presence, is still such a motivator. Whenever I go on stage, I always blast some Ronnie. It's like a ritual for me. Holy Diver by Ronnie James Dio is the one that gets me psyched. Metallica, yes. Old Metallica, new Metallica. I'm old school, man. You know, I bet you guys are the same about Priest. It's crazy, isn't it? It's usually your first 2 or 3 albums that you make in any given band that are the reference points to who you are and what you're about. And so for me, those first batches of Metallica, the extraordinary way that they interpreted their style of metal and branded it with such a unique force, just generates as much now as it did then. So Metallica, ride the lightning on the heavy metal Harley. There are so many legends in rock and metal, and one of the guys that is at the top of the mountain is Lemmy. Much like Ronnie, so many of our beautiful friends have departed, but as I've said so many times, their music lives forever. And in this case, the personality with the music goes hand in hand. Lemmy was an extraordinary man with so much to say in his music. And when he would talk in his interviews, he was just a mesmerizing person to listen to, speak, the way his brain worked so uniquely. So here we go, folks. This is Lemmy and Motorhead. Yes, Ace of Spades. Another extraordinary man that's done so many great things for us in rock, hard rock metal, along with his crazy personality. Ozzy's voice is overlooked, you know. He's an amazing voice as a fellow singer, you know. And for all of us, when we hear Ozzy on the radio, we know, oh, that's Ozzy Osbourne. The voice speaks louder than the character to some extent. And so when he went off into his solo experiences, we were all waiting patiently to see what would happen. When he blasted out Bark at the Moon, which is a great title, that was the one that really drew us closer to everything that represents the great Ozzy Osbourne. I've lived long enough to experience many incredible things happen in metal. And when I first got an earful of this great band out of Texas called Pantera, I was just running towards it, saying, "Give me some more of this. What are these guys doing? I've never heard. What's this guy on the guitar? Who's the singer? You know, the drummer, the bass player, all of the chemistry, the combined chemistry that made Pantera such a special band was a real light source, and definitely another one of these game changers that everybody was checking this band out. Nobody had heard anything like it before. So much so for us in Priest that we took Pantera out with us to Europe. The guys had never left the country before, and they blitzkrieged Europe, man. Everybody was like, who is this band? And then at the end of the set, 45 minutes later, they go, I'm a Pantera fan for life. So one of the great, great songs from Pantera as they evolved is this amazing track by Pantera called Walk. Hello, Europe. Hello, Scorpions. I love my Scorpions, man. Of all of the great bands that have come out of Europe, these guys from Germany who have been around for so many years, probably longer than Priest. Is it over 50 years? I don't know. But here's longevity. Here's longevity based on incredible talent, incredible music, the variety of records that they made right from the early days, like in trance, all the way through to what they're doing in recent times. The consistency of this band is just very, very special for me. And another great singer, another great friend of mine, Klaus, wrapped up in all of the wonderful musicianship of Scorpions. This is, we're going to have a blackout, baby. I like bands that make statements in music that they back up. And what I mean by that is you take a band like Rage Against the Machine, who have, again, consistently supported their music by doing great things outside of their music, especially Tom Morello. And this style of heavy metal, is it heavy metal? I think it's heavy metal, with this unusual format of presentation by Zach, is just very, very special. There is only one, in music, you have like different genres and you have different bands, but we're all a little bit, not exactly the same, but the vibe is there. With Rage Against the Machine, they're just, nobody like them, man. There's nobody like Rage Against the Machine. So if you want to check out a really special band saying really special things with an extraordinary song, this is Rage Against the Machine and Balls on Parade.
Ground control's a major tom.
There's this great guy who's often referenced as like a chameleon, which is what David Bowie was. The last things that he ever did and gifted to us all just brought me to tears, man, for him to pass like he did in such a noble and just expressive way. That great picture, that great last picture of him in New York City with the snow falling, and he's just giving everybody a salute. And it gives me shivers just to think about it. He was just a beautiful, beautiful source of this flow of nobody can be like David Bowie, from Aladdin Sane to the Thin White Duke to Ziggy Stardust. I saw Ziggy Stardust, the actual band, in the UK, in Wolverhampton, in a venue, and I'm so thrilled that I have that memory, just watching him walk out on stage and do the whole Ziggy Stardust album. So for him, in my life, it's very special. Out of all of the people that we've talked about on my 10 faves, Bowie as a musician in all of his musicianship that he gave us is just, man, there's no one like him. And out of all of the songs, it's kind of difficult, but I've gone with this great track that we all know and love and cherish. This is Space Oddity from David Bowie.